Hey you, welcome to Adulting's Ghetto. We all know adulting is truly overrated, so what better way to survive this ratchet place than coming together to share our stories and words of wisdom with one another. Join us as we discuss all things adulting from the following aspects of adulthood: finances, relationships, spirituality, and even health. This podcast is a great source to get all tips and tricks as you manage to survive adulting. After all, we already know adulting is truly ghetto. Welcome back to another episode of Adulting is Ghetto. I'm super excited that you've joined us. Got my girl here, Kyera. She's going to explain herself, why she's here, all that great stuff. But I always like to say how we met because, that's how we start things.
Yes.
So we met a few years ago now, like a good minute now. But we met through mutual friends at an event that was social networking. And we always meet at a networking event. I feel like now I just see you around.
Just run into each other every other weekend.
in the city. So, and we bonded off that, and literally the rest is history. And we always stayed in contact. I started coming to your events because she's a real estate agent. She's going to tell you more about that. And I was like supporting that way, and you supported me. So it was so great. It's just so great to like grow with you and just watch you dominate the industry and everything, and just follow you through the years. And you supported so many times coming on, just like you're coming on again to share great gems. So y'all, she's the real deal. Okay, so all your housing needs, real estate, please tune in and make sure you pay attention. Okay.
Well, thank you for such a grand intro.
Of course. So besides that, please tell the folks a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive right into our questions.
Well, like Jada said, I love to support bosses.
Thank you.
And that's exactly what she is. And so, like she said, that's how we connected. And I am Kyera Perry. I am currently a realtor with Keller Williams, and I have my own team under Keller Williams called Regal Realty Group. So it's me and my buyer agent, as well as my virtual assistant, and I have a transaction coordinator. And so we are our mission is to make sure that we are helping thousands of families acquire wealth and teaching them how to acquire wealth through real estate. And so I'm very, very passionate about that. I was initially in education. I went to Howard University. Shout out to the Bisons out there. And I studied education. I was in a 5-year master's program, and God just kind of had a different plan for me.
Right.
And so real estate kept coming up, and I was like, this must be confirmation. And I took the classes, and I passed, and here I am. So I have generally specialized working with millennial first-time buyers, but I have expanded that. Now I work with investors. I work with those trying to sell their home and purchase a new home. I mean, just all around. And I service pretty much all of Metro Atlanta. So people are like, where's your location? Everywhere.
Everywhere.
I have 200,000 miles on my car, y'all. Okay.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. She should be everywhere. Okay.
We are everywhere.
I love that.
So yeah, that's really why that's what motivates me, just the rewarding, being able to have the reward of helping people build that wealth through real estate.
And I always noticed that about her too, obviously moved before. So I don't have a home yet, but I always have you in my mind. When I'm ready, I will hit you up. So I always try to send people her way in the meantime that are ready and prepared. So this is super great.
Yeah.
So with that said, let's get into these questions. Okay. I know y'all got some questions. And so the expert here is he's here to really help you, basically help you get that next house, okay? So before we start about that, though, what got you into real estate initially? Because I know you said you weren't in it. Yeah. So what happened, and what's that story?
So the story is, it's all God. I just give him all the praise. There's a scripture, Proverbs 16:9, and it says, we can make our plan, but he determines our steps.
Oh, I love that.
And since I was 15, I really wanted to work with youth. And I think that, a misconception is, especially when we were younger, like you could be a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer, all these new innovative careers were not really exposed to us.
No, yeah.
And so I thought that that's what it meant. I love kids. I'm supposed to be a teacher.
Right.
So at 15, I put in my mind like, okay, I'm going to be a teacher. And so I did everything it took to be a teacher. Right. And I still love kids to this day. Right. But when I actually got into the classroom, something was just like not feeling right.
It was
and I thought it was
okay. I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding.
I thought it was first year jitters.
Oh yeah.
And then the second year,
it kept happening.
It was just like, something is not right. And it was just so interesting how God puts things and how he orders your steps, because like people kept bringing up real estate around me. I'm like, absolutely not.
Like, you were like,
I have no business background. I'm not in sales. Like sales is not my thing. I'm not going to do it. And my neighbor finally was like, just take the class. Like, cause she has a full-time job, and she was like, I do it on the side. It's very lucrative. Like you can just you can have play money. That's kind of how it was thought about at first.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
play
Lord,
money.
if I take this class and pass, I'll have this as a side job.
Right. And now look at you.
Girl, so let me tell y'all this story.
Yes.
Real estate was the hardest, most challenging educational course of my life.
Really?
Like, I feel like everything else came naturally because I was naturally ready to be a teacher. So
Yeah.
all my college courses, all my high school courses, all of that, I mean, it had its challenges, but when it came to real estate, it was so foreign to me. And I was just like, I didn't think I was going to pass.
Oh, wow.
So the girl in front of me, they were like, oh, man, you were 2 points away from passing. So I was like, I'm doomed.
Dang.
And then I gave them my test, and they were like, you passed. And I was just in shock.
So the devil thought he had
Girl,
you. Okay, why would she
okay.
say that? Okay, no.
Girl, so I was just like, this is not gonna be for me. I'm about to. If this girl in front of me fail, I'm about to fail too. And the lady was like, you
that's her story.
passed.
You different, boo boo. Okay,
Girl,
I know that's congratulations.
girl, thank you. So I was still trying to work around God's plan. I was
Right.
I still have a heart for kids. So I was like, I'm gonna work for a nonprofit and do
Okay.
real estate on the side because I had given up teaching at this point.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, I'm just gonna do a nonprofit, still work with youth, and do
Right.
this on the side.
You have something.
Girl, God was like, no. My best friend was like, hey, I'm
You
trying to
gonna
buy a
do
house.
that.
That was 2017. She was like, hey, I'm gonna buy a house, and I was like, okay, cool. And then after that,
Okay, cool.
I stepped into it full time, and I've just been.
Wow.
God has allowed me to soar ever since. Like, literally, it's just. And every time I have a sale, I'm just like, I still can't believe it.
I love that.
It's
and
crazy.
let me tell you, like I said, I've known her for now. I want to say a few years, 3, 4, definitely 4 or 5, almost.
It was when I first became an agent. We met at that Wealth and Wine event.
Yes.
So that must have been like 18.
Yeah. So I was just get fresh off too. Like,
Yeah,
coming
because it was
to
before the
Atlanta.
pandemic for
Definitely
sure.
before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yes. So I've watched her soar from that. So like I said, like from her doing her amazing Wealth Wednesday, Wine Wednesdays, learning about real estate, doing pop-up shops. I've just been watching you grow. So it's so beautiful to see you plant the seeds and, let God water them, and now they're blooming. So it's definitely have to put that out there.
Yes.
She's a
I'm so
seasoned
grateful, y'all.
agent.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
So I just had to make sure the story's out there because I know the story, but y'all don't.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
But
powerful.
I'm glad. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you always give acknowledge God on that, because that is true. We definitely could start away, and that's what another scripture says. God always works everything for our good.
Yeah.
Like even the bad and the good, it'll work out.
Yeah, because in the beginning, when I first decided to go into real estate, let me tell y'all, it's not rainbows and
Yes.
I was broke. Okay. I had quit my job
Broke.
teaching, and I decided to pursue this full time. Like, I had to move out of my apartment, move back home with my parents. Like, it was rough. It was a rough start. No.
That actually was another question I wanted to ask, because there might be people on here thinking about doing real estate or joining the industry. What would your, I guess, a best tip would be or about that? Like, getting into it and whether if it's for you or not.
Right.
Do you keep going? If the sale, like all those things that are big questions.
Yeah, that's a great question. The biggest thing I have learned is it's all about your mindset.
Okay.
And real estate is entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And so people see these big companies like Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, Metro Brokers, and it's an assumption that you're going to be working a job. But it's like, no, you have to get out here and hustle when you're a real estate agent.
You got to get your own.
And I can admit that I'm not a natural born hustler. Like, as an educator, I showed up.
Right.
My students showed up.
You have an
I
agenda,
taught.
a plan.
I went home, got my every 2-week pay.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Real estate is a whole nother beast. And I think it's a misconception, because people used to ask me all the time, like, you don't get a check for real estate? I'm like, no, it's 1,000% commission.
Oh, wow.
We are 1,000% commission based. You don't get any type of check. So your business works for you. You have to go out and get clients. You have to go out, and so your mindset has to be there. And I admit mine wasn't there at first, because I was so used to not having to hustle.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
So I definitely struggled in the beginning, because I'm like, I have to do what now? I got to walk up to people, strangers, and say, hey, I'm a real estate agent.
Like almost like cold sell. Or
I'm like, how weird is that? And for me, I'm a natural introvert. So for me, that's still very awkward. And that's how my events came about. I'm like, you know what? How can I make this work for me?
And it did, because I feel like you create a space that, now, first of all, people that want to hear you come. First of all. So now you're not talking to people that are like not even in the market for it. But then two, it is always so fun. Like, you always had something to do. Yeah. And like, whether, like I said, for me, I wasn't even in the buying market, but of course, knowing the information is amazing. And this is pre-COVID. So just like learning, it was so great and educational for me. People obviously that actually want to get the homes. It's obviously perfect for them. Yeah. So, and you had your brokers there too to help us with financing. Like, it was like a one-stop shop. So it was very smart. I think,
and that's the most humbling thing about like God putting you into a place, because you never, every time you have an opportunity, you're just so much more grateful for it.
Yes.
And you're never just like for me, I'm not hunting for the next client.
Amen.
You know, I'm just
You're
doing the
at
part that
ease.
God told me to do, and He sends
doing
it.
the
Like,
rest.
I'm not over here like, oh,
That's
you
a
know,
word.
if my family didn't use me, I'm gonna cuss them out. Like, no, it wasn't meant to be.
Right.
You know, and I've had that. I've had people close to me who didn't use me to be their agent. But to me, it's not about that.
No.
It's about just being on this path that God has set me on.
Okay,
And once you focus on that, He will, like you said, He will grow
He will.
the territory.
He will. And you know, it's so funny you say it because same here with my business entrepreneur side with financial education. So when I have friends it's so funny because it's a fine line.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes they'll be like, I got a question for this. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, you're a friend. So I'm like, should you be my client or is it too close for comfort, whatever.
Yeah.
The Chinese wall. And sometimes like, again, sometimes I'll be like, if I don't want everyone to come to me, of course I do. But like, there is a reason why, you know, there's levels to it. And I think it's good for our relationships as well. Because as your friend, if we're hanging out, you tell them you're trying to budget. And I see you going over budget. And I'm with you. Do I put on that hat of like, I'm your financial educator?
Right.
Or am I your friend? You know, and not saying the friend is going to tell you to keep going, but like, I don't know if it's going to be received as well. Yeah. So it's funny because I feel like sometimes it's probably best to keep like the close family out of all those things. Because, you know, I just think when things happen, there's a lot of assumptions. It could be good, bad, and you don't want to mess up what you really have at the core, which is actually the real foundation and love for each other.
And fortunately for me, and that's another good thing that you bring up as an agent, you do have to kind of assess like where you are. Some agents are good with working their database, which is like the people that you know, love, and trust already, and some people do go after the people who they don't know. And it's 50-50. Like you have people who say like, I don't work with anybody I'm close to. You have people who say I'm really good at it. And for me, I'm really good at working with people I'm close to because they know that they can trust me.
Right.
They
Which
know
is
that
half the battle, I think. Especially in real estate. I mean, you hear about scams all the time. Or like people for the first time are like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And the big gigantic picture of it. So that's why I'm saying like for me, I've been growing with you for years. Right. I'm like, I gotta contact you because I know you've been in it. I know I see you. I trust you. Because I've heard some scandals. I know some people, and I refer them after they get scammed to you. Yeah. When I find out that they went the other way. And it's,
And something else I'll say too that you said earlier, like you're so professional, and that's something that's consistent.
Yes.
If you're my mom and you become my client, you're gonna get the same treatment that the stranger off the street got. Because I don't want people to ever think like, oh, she my friend, so she didn't give me the best treatment. No, I want everybody to get that quality care.
And
when
if
they're
you're
working
paying,
with me,
then you're gonna definitely get
you're investing in probably one of the biggest investments of your life.
Right.
So I'm not just gonna be like, oh, for you, you know, I'm not gonna show you no houses. Or, oh, you figure it out yourself. And then for them, I'm like, oh yes, we're gonna do this. No, everybody, we do the same thing for everybody. It's consistent.
Especially because I feel like if anything, you can never question like your quality or like what you do as a standard.
Right.
Because that's another thing. I'm very clear of like, well, my time is money too, you know, and so if we have an hour, I have clients that I do know, of course, are friends as well, but like we have an hour because I have other clients, you know, so like if you want to catch up, we can catch up separately, but not during the time, you know what I mean? Yep. So it's definitely like blinders. I totally feel you on that.
Yeah, for sure. And so I definitely would just say to just answer your question, just having that mindset shift is going to be important. And for me, I'm a Jesus girl, so I lean into God. Affirmations, scriptures, whatever I got to do to make sure my mind is right first thing in the morning is going to be key. Staying consistent, because you're going to have months where it's like, I don't see any money. Yeah. So save. When you do get money, you got to save it. You have to save it. And I advise too, something that I waited too late to do, financial advice. Yeah. You got to get good expert financial advice especially as an entrepreneur, because you're like, oh, I just got the biggest check of my life and then it's gone in a week.
Yeah, and you don't know when the next one is, so that stability is a whole different set of advice that I'm sure people would give people that are entrepreneurs versus someone that is salary based. Exactly. But honestly, in this market at this point, you don't know what if you're going to a job or not next month.
That's true. The layoffs and things have been terrible in this economy, but
you know, because you know the pros and cons of it. It's like, oh well, I'm your own boss. Well, they could fire you in a day. Right. So you should still be doing the same, almost like, you know, get paid, put some aside for savings, rainy day, whatever, because you just don't know. Yes. Clearly a global pandemic happened. So definitely. No one would have called that. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for that, because I think that's good. I know I have some people who have reached out before learning and wanting to be a real estate agent, so I was like, this is perfect. Yes. Okay. And
that's one thing I love too. Anybody who wants to be an agent, like, I love that. It's just so cool. I had my first new agent little wind down
Oh,
in
that's cute.
June, and I was like, this might be somewhere else God is taking me, like to help new agents.
Do it, yeah. Okay, y'all heard it here first.
Yeah.
Her information is going to be, in the bio and everything. So definitely follow, and
definitely
you guys
reach
can
out.
Stay, in touch. Okay, so next question I have is, what's going on in the housing market currently?
So
in a big picture, like,
yes. Everybody's like, is the market going to crash? Is the market going to crash? Is the market going to crash? So right now, what is going on? We are still in the seller's market. So that means we have less inventory than buyer demand. So inventory is still pretty low, which is still driving up competition in the market.
Yeah.
So, I know a lot of people are like, prices went up, interest rates went up, I want a low ball and an offer. This is not the time to do that because the sellers still have the advantage. But unfortunately, I will say the interest rates have gone up, and that directly impacts your mortgage payment. And so 2 years ago, you could buy a house at $250 at a 3% interest rate, and your mortgage payment might have been like $1,400, where now you buy a $250 home, which probably is now $275, and then your rate is like 7%, and you're probably paying $2,300 for a payment. And so the biggest thing is the market is always going to fluctuate. And I tell my clients, you just need to talk to a lender. Okay. Get with the lender and find out, based on your assets and your income and your dets, what can you afford?
Yeah.
Let's start there.
It's like a puzzle of formula, excuse me.
Right.
I feel that. Right. And also, sorry, real quick, can you explain buyer versus seller just in case someone doesn't know?
Yes. So when it's a seller's market, that means there's less homes than buyers that are shopping.
Yes.
And vice versa. When it's a buyer's market, that means there's more homes than buyers shopping. So they have a lot more options to choose from. So that's what that means. And how we look at it as agents is like the month supply. So whenever it's a 6 months or above supply of inventory, we know it's a buyer's market. And when it's 6 months and below, we consider that a seller's market. And right now we're at about a 2.5 month supply. And that means like if all the homes sold based on the buyers in the market, it will only take 2 months.
Wow.
For all the homes in Atlanta to sell.
Wow. And does this include, well, no, it doesn't include new build. No, does it?
Yeah.
Damn. Because, they've been popping up.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yes.
I mean, we were in Atlanta, obviously.
Right.
So I've been driving around like, wow. I'm like, they got another building over here.
And even new builds, even though they're popping up and it is more inventory of new builds versus resale homes, they still are under pressure because of the rate. So you see a lot of builders right now like paying for a rate decrease or, offering more incentive. Like we're going to give your client $10,000 to put toward their down payment or put toward buying the rate down. So it's definitely I will admit it's a tough market to be in, but if you can afford, I am a homeowner and I do see the benefits of home ownership. So I tell my clients, let's just talk to the lender. And if it does seem feasible for you, you should do it. If it doesn't, you should wait. And again, going back to being humble, I'm never going to be the agent that's going to say, you just got to buy a house because you just got to buy a house.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm not a salesperson. Never have been. My heart is still to educate. And that's one thing that exudes through this as well. I still educate. And so that's part of my education. Like, let's see. Is this a good fit?
Right. And I think personally, outside of the God's anointing on your life and your business, but also I think education is really key. That's what people want to know. I feel like my business has thrived in my authenticity about my journey, and I'm sure with yours as well. And educating, saying like, this is what I've done, this is what I've learned. I've read this, researched this, whatever, became an expert in these things, and this is what I have seen. And people want that because it's not only like, okay, obviously I came to you, but it's like empowering because now you're actually making a decision for yourself and you feel confident doing it. Because I think most times people are not confident when they make decisions, like financially. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know if I should be doing this. I'm like, well, let's look at it. And now later, and my biggest beautiful like accomplishment to me, especially my business, is that aha moment. Love it. Love it times 10. I love when they're like, oh my God, this is what you mean. I was like, yeah, it's not that hard. Yeah. It really isn't.
Yes.
It's really just maybe we had to learn it a little different for you. That's fine. But and I think that's where really it's going to always sell because people really want to know. There's a lot of in the darkness with real estate or just things that are foreign, investing, generational wealth, especially for us. So right. I think that's.
And you hit a great point because it's all about trusting the expert.
Yeah.
No matter what market it is, if you trust your agent, you trust your financial advisor, you will go far. When you're questioning, when you're like trying to Google on the side, be like, well, this said this and this said that, you're gonna make yourself have a challenging experience. It's
overthink too much.
Right. It's like trust that we are putting our best foot forward to make sure that we're doing the best on your behalf. Like we would never try to take you somewhere that will cause you to fail or,
because it's a business too. Like, I'll be honest with you, we can't be having bad reviews.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Seriously.
Seriously.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And I always
yes.
say, especially with finances, I was always hesitant because I was like, you mess with someone's money, it's over. Like the trust. So I make sure my guarantees are you will be a better person. There's no guarantee of money on the side. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you try to do depends. But when you sign that contract, it is very much so this is what you're going to get.
Definitely. And remember, it's always going to be something. Like, I have a client right now. We're going to be closing this year. She bought a new build, and we started working together like 3 years ago.
Wow.
And at that time, the rates were low.
Right.
But it was like so much competition. Like, you had like 80 people, offering on the same property.
I heard it.
So that kind of shied her away. And then now the rates are up, and she's like, dang, I should have bought back then. Yeah. So it's always going to be a reason for you to feel like the market is not right for you. That's why just talking to that lender and just like finding out, does it fit your budget?
Spot. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, your sweet spot, or whether if it's your, that's going to be the best time to buy.
Yep.
When it's in that bracket.
Yep.
Don't even got to worry about,
exactly.
I saw today that it's a recession
exactly.
rate. Don't matter because that rate is within you need. You know
we go get that gas, no matter what the price is. We still swipe those credit cards, no matter what the interest rate has gone up to. So
it's true.
And those rates are like 26% now. You're better.
Yeah, it's everything's inflation, right? So it's actually ridiculous. But it's funny because another thing I've noticed, like you just said, people are still, because they were making a beef about saying like, I don't know why y'all complain about gas, y'all still gonna get gas,
right?
Because we do need it, obviously, to get to where we gotta go, unless you go electric or something.
Yeah.
So yes, that's a thing. But outside of that, you're gonna go with the flow, unfortunately. So next question: when you're buying your first home, what are some top things one should look for? Price, neighborhood. I don't know what else.
Well, outside of that, because that's pretty much my role.
Thing, right? Yeah.
What I would say is, you need to have some money saved. That is the biggest advice I would give. Is like, if if your checking account or savings account doesn't have any money in it, I would definitely recommend saving some money.
Yes, for sure.
A lot of times people do want to rely on down payment assistance, and that may not always be the best option for you. Because down payment programs have a lot of pros, but they also have a lot of cons.
Let's talk about them.
Yeah. So definitely save is the first advice that I would give somebody who's thinking about buying a home for sure. And then from there, kind of start driving around different areas and figuring out what area you like the best. I typically do an initial call with my clients and I send my apps over. But if you are looking on Redfin, truly, that's fine too. Just start seeing like what the price point is, so you can be realistic about
your stuff.
You're not about to get a house anymore for $175. That's not happening.
No, I mean.
So just become familiar with like the current market and the pricing of the market, and then like I said, to talk to a lender. Talk to a lender.
That sounds right. And to be realistic, I think that's really real. Because I feel like even with finance, again, that's why we work so close together. It's always funny when you talk to someone, and it's funny. There's no shade, but it's just like, oh yeah, like the people will tell me their goals. First call, I'm trying to save $1,000 a month. I said, oh, okay, that's great. Like, what's your income? Cool. What's your bills?
Right.
And it cuts all of that out, right? And so you're just like, okay, well, let's now. Realistic? Right, that's not realistic because now you are living in a different space that is not really current, and it's no worries. We could work towards it, but like. It's always bringing people down to like the realistic level so that we can actually do the work. Because now you're just gonna be upset. Like, I want to be saving $1,000. We got to figure that out. What that looks like. And if you want to do big purchases, like get a new car and a home, you got to really plan that out. You know what I'm saying? Especially with people with families. Everyone's different. So I agree.
Yes. And I will also say this too. Just get in with a financial planner. Again, because you need to have a decent credit score. You need to have your debts, your utilization on your credit cards need to be 20% or below. Like, those things are very important before getting to buy a house, because you want to put yourself, especially in this market, like we said, rates are higher. You want to put yourself in the best possible position. And so in order to have the best rate right now, you need to have the best credit. You need to have the least amount of debt.
Because the debt to income ratio is a big thing. And can you explain because there's a difference of a credit score that you normally give the credit bureau and a real estate credit score. I had to learn that because they judge differently. And one is lower than the other. I can tell you that.
So you're referring to the FICO versus the Vantage score.
Yes. There we go.
So your Vantage score is just an educational score. So that's the score you're going to see like on a Credit Karma, where they're going to show you a score, and they weight it differently from the FICO scores. That's what the lender actually looks at. And so you really want to try to go through your bank. If you bank with a major company like I do, Chase, Chase or Wells Fargo, Bank of America, they typically have on your app to be able to see your FICO score for free. What the lender's going to do is, if you already have an account with Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, they're going to take the middle score of those three.
Right.
So if you have accounts with them, you can just go ahead and see what the lender sees.
Yes.
If not, you should not rely on your Credit Karma score, because I have so many clients that's like, the lender, I applied with the lender, my score dropped 20 points. It's like, did your score drop 20 points? Right. Or were you looking at your Credit Karma and then the lender was looking at your FICO score?
Right.
So that's something to consider, because your credit score is not supposed to drop once you have one or two hard credit pulls. It's not supposed to drop. Yeah. So that's something, definitely a big one to factor in.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that score too, y'all, I would say, you know,
what's the range?
I need a 580.
Really? Okay.
That is the minimum requirement for most lenders.
Okay.
However, like I said, if you want to have the best score,
the best,
because at a 580, you're still looking at as high risk. It's like if your score is a 580, they're thinking that you have,
may not be able to.
Right, you may not be able to pay them back. So then they're going to do.
That's not good.
My clients are already like, the lender got on my nerves. They're doing all this digging, ask for all these documents. When your score is a 580, they're going to do, like, they're going to be pulling out stuff that you didn't even think about.
Right.
Rental history, talking to your previous landlords, like all this extra stuff. And it's just a hassle. And then you're going to have the higher rate. Like, they're not going to give you a lower rate if your credit score is the entry level credit score. So I tell my clients at least a 640.
Okay, 640.
If you can get to a 640, great. If you can get to a 700, great.
Right.
720 or better is you're going to get the best credit score.
And mind you, this is the FICO score we're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, do both. Shoot for both of them, okay?
Right, exactly. Just make sure they all up.
Good.
Make sure they all up.
All
but
good. Yes.
If you can get over a 720, most lenders are going to offer you the best interest rate.
Gotcha. And so that's good. Just putting yourself in the best position.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
And in that case, you may want to wait to buy. And that's why I say I don't pressure my clients.
Right.
It's like, I do have a 640, but I, talk to the lender. They told me I can get a better rate if I get to a 700, 720. So let's wait until. And I'm like, of course, let's wait. Like, I don't want you to be going out here house poor. Yeah. Just trying to buy a house. That's not cute.
I was going to say that.
That's not cute.
Because you can have the house.
Right.
But it's not a home.
Amen?
Yeah, exactly. You don't have the furniture.
Because all you can do is live in it.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
And you don't want that either. And I feel like it's so funny, even like when you're decorating, like even my apartment, that's money that you're putting in.
Let me tell y'all.
Yeah. That was my COVID project, because I was like, well, I'm going to just take my time because ain't nobody coming over.
My house furnishing took me out.
I bet.
I did not expect
quality,
it. Yeah. Because you right. I'm used to having a 1-bedroom apartment at a house.
Same, yeah.
So I did too much, y'all.
You did too much. But
I did too much.
To see that's your home now, And again, you do what you got to do, like whatever.
Exactly.
But yeah, you don't want to get to the point that you've been waiting for, and then you don't got anything to really enjoy it. And like you said, I think the waiting is very important. I've had a client that's like, oh, I'm in the market, I'm working on it, and they're like, what do you think I should do? So I've been helping her with the budgeting, right, to start saving or stuff like that while she waits. So she's not like just waiting in vain, if that makes sense. Of course, waiting for the market, but also waiting because she's trying to get her score back. So we're like, okay, cool, what can we throw here? So that I think that will help when it comes to pass, when their waiting period is over.
Yeah.
A lot.
Definitely.
So yeah.
Definitely.
I do agree.
And I think you asked a question earlier that we didn't get to cover.
Oh yeah.
But you did ask about
That's the next question.
Okay.
That's why I was already went over.
I'll let you take
girl. No. I literally was like, wait, I know this is on here. Sorry. Okay, so what programs are out there to help assist first-time home buyers? That's what you're talking about, right?
Yes, and you asked how much should they save?
Oh shoot, yes. How much should they save?
Yes.
Before that, yes. Go ahead.
So if you're thinking about how much you should save, I tell my clients at least try to save the down payment, which is why I said earlier, try to see like what price points you like. Like when you're looking at houses, what price points you like, so you can take 3% of that. Because typically the first-time buyer is going to spend 3% down payment. Or up to 5%.
Up to 5%, right.
So right now the average home price in Atlanta for easy math is about $300,000, and so the 3% is about $9,000. So at least that, because you are going to have additional closing costs and things associated. So you do need more than the $9,000. FYI, wink, wink.
Right.
So if you can save more than $9,000, do that. But I tell my clients, I have clients all the time who don't have like $50,000 saved. Most people don't.
No, I'm gonna say, well. Yeah. Most people don't. I mean, I don't. That's
So it's ways around that as well. You can definitely ask family and friends. I did have to ask my parents for a few $1,000s for my closing. I did pay them back. It was a loan. Or if you have an established 401k with your company, most corporate companies will let you pull from your 401k without penalty when you purchase a home. So I have had several clients do that to supplement as well. But yeah, just, if you know your lease doesn't end till like another 12 months, saving as much as you can is like
that'd be smart.
Great. And then it leads into the segue of down payment. Down payment is another way you can supplement for not having the down payment and closing costs available. So earlier I mentioned that there are a lot of pros and cons with down payment programs. Yes. So the pros are if you don't have the money, they're going to pay for it for you. Right. A lot of these programs, though, are just assistance, which means it's not a grant, which means you have to pay it back at some point, whether it's through the interest rate. So a lot of down payment programs may have a higher rate, and right now we already have high rates. So if you're having a higher rate, you got to remember that your payment may go up versus not using down payment assistance. A lot of programs are like, if you live in a house this long, it's forgiven. So some of them require you to live in a house 3 years, 5 years, 10 years before it's forgiven. So things like that, you guys have to make sure you read all the fine print to make sure this is a good program for you. For me personally, the house that I purchased, I qualify for $20,000 in assistance. Wow. And that sounds amazing, right? $20,000 free money. But then I realized they were trying to pimp me out. So I read the fine print, and it was like, not only did I have to live in my house 10 years. 10 years, wow. If I moved out before that, I would have to pay back the $20,000. Immediately? As well as they wanted a portion of my equity. Oh, so they want everything. Oh, yeah. Like I said, true pimp. Yeah. So make sure y'all read and ask your lenders, like, what's the catch to me doing this program? There are some good ones out there. Like I said, used to be a few that they forgave it at the closing table. Those aren't really around anymore. Right. And then you have programs like a NACA. A lot of my clients. I was gonna say, what about that? Ask me about NACA. I am NACA certified, and NACA does allow for you not to have to pay anything out of pocket. Like that's like the only program I know where you don't really have to pay anything out of pocket. So that can be a benefit, but there are cons, and I don't want to go too in depth, but you do have to consider your time frame when you're working with NACA, and there are also some of those things like paying it back if you sell within a certain time for NACA. Okay. But if you do know that I'm buying my first house, this is my forever home, I'm going to be here forever, NACA may be a good fit for you. Outside of that, there are a lot of programs as well. City of Atlanta has a lot of programs. Most counties have their own county program. Yeah. All of my lenders, like you said, I'm very resourceful. I have a lot of different lenders I work with, because I know they all offer something different. So depending on what you tell me in our initial assessment call, I can pair you with the lender who I feel like is going to be the best fit and have the best program for you. And that's the expert for you. Yes. Because not only, she's like, look, if it don't even work in here, we can figure it out. Yeah, a lot of lenders have like 100% programs where you don't have to pay your down payment. Oh, wow. A lot of lenders use Chenoa. Chenoa is a very, very common one where they give you like up to 3% of the price. And then that one is a good one because it's forgiven after 36 payments. And that's typically about 3 years. Right? And most first-time buyers stay in their home 3 to 5 years anyway. So Chenoa is a good one if you have to supplement for sure, because it's forgiven pretty quickly in comparison to some of the other programs. If you can find a grant, some lenders do grants. I had a lender that was doing an $8,000 grant, but y'all, she switched companies on me. So some lenders do have grants. Grants are the best way to go. Right. Because you don't have to pay it back. And it's no like attach fee. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I mean, like always, like what you just said, follow up. I think totally the best deals are free money or grant. Yeah. And there's stuff out there, so you just gotta do the research and know it for yourself. I think because sometimes people don't know. If you don't ask, then you won't know either. Right. And depending on if you're flexible about where you're living, like OTP or outside of perimeter, and there's other ones like too. So City of Atlanta has a lot of programs. Yeah. If you're living inside the perimeter. Yeah, exactly. So whatever you're trying to do. Great point. And shameless plug. Yeah. We will be talking about down payment assistance and mortgages at my upcoming seminar. It's going to be called Mimosas and Mortgages, because we love to have a cute little cocktail with our events. I'm telling you. So that'll be happening in October. So look out for information for that too. Yes. And again, her information will be here below. It's going to pop up somewhere when she explains and introduce herself again right at the end, so you can follow it and stay in tune whenever you watch this and replay it. Okay. Yes. Okay. Next question we have is how much? Oh no, sorry, we just asked that. How much we would save for a down payment on a house? Yeah, we already went over that. It's perfect. So actually, oh my God, we went through this. 3%, y'all. 3%. Yeah. Save that 3%. Oh my God. Okay, we were just talking. Okay, this is great. Or buy your mom something nice for Christmas and then say, hey. Right. Do you want to be my sponsor when I buy my house next year? Now you know your mama. Because like I said, for me, so I didn't even finish the $20,000 story. Oh yeah. Once I found out that I had to pay it back and give them a portion of my equity, it was like, mommy, daddy, help. Right. Right. Because I had some money saved, which saved me. And that's why it's so good to have money saved, because even if you do get into down payment, something comes up. I've had clients, a lot of them are income based. So let me tell y'all that too. Most of them, because the economy And that one reason that interest rates are higher right now is because our economy is actually growing in regards to jobs. So you guys see Amazon is coming here, all these different headquarters. So it's like, oh, the economy is thriving. That means the rates are good. So with that being said, the average income in Atlanta has gone up because it used to be like 74 cap. And I believe now it's like 84 cap for down payment assistance. So if you make $84,000 or less, you're pretty good. If you make more than that, people get so annoyed and they're like, I'm a first time buyer though. I'm like, but you can't make $200,000 and get down payment assistance because they're thinking you got it.
Yeah. I have a friend that I should say this early on. But yeah, they kept a job, a lower income job, to qualify when they were buying their first home because they knew they could get way more in equity and way more in benefits. Yeah. And then, of course, switch later on, or I think they still keep it. But either way, like, you know, they just always, that does make a difference. Because some people do be like, well, I'm a first time. And it's like, dang, but you like work in tech. So we know you over
the limit. So that's another catch to down payment. One of the cons is some of them there are very few, but I do have a few lenders who have programs who are not income based.
Oh, that's good.
Which is great. So you can get a little something. Yeah.
Because over time, people, you do expect, like, I don't know why that's like, you do expect, like, are we outside? You do expect that, you know, you will grow with your income and start making, which is great. But there is like less benefits, obviously, for that.
And entrepreneurs too. Y'all be careful too, because you know we make all this good money and then we writing it off, and we showing that we make $30,000 a year, or sometimes 12, because I've seen 12 on the tax return. And I'm like, sis, you wrote off too much. You can't buy a house now, because they seeing, even though you made good money last year, they're seeing $12,000 on your tax return. So be careful. If you are an entrepreneur and you're thinking about buying a house, make sure you talk to your accountant and say, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house.
CPA.
What do I need to, you know, how can we make this work? And if you have a good lender like I did, because I was an entrepreneur when I bought my house, I'm like sending the draft over to my lender like, is this good? Yeah, seriously.
I agree. You got to have the people. I think it was another episode we talked about people you need is like your lawyer and a CPA, a tax person, professional, because in life, it's going to happen. And you want to make sure you avoid tax evasion and fraud in what you're doing.
Definitely.
And all that great stuff.
Have a good coach, mentor too, all of that. I mean, as you get older, the more people you need in your village. They used to say as a kid, it takes a village, but I feel like as an adult, it takes a village.
This hood is
for
ghetto,
real.
Okay? Like, you need all the advice. You're like, what did you do? Because we don't talk about it enough. And that's why, this whole podcast was created. But
And it really goes back to just like, we're all talented and gifted in different areas. When you go to the doctor, when I go to the doctor, I don't have no idea what they're talking about. So I have to trust them. Like, whatever they tell me, I really have to trust it. So, you know, it's the same thing. You know, we're all just leaning on each other for support because we don't know. Right. I don't know what the doctor's doing when they sticking me.
Right. I'm just hoping
I'm waiting on them to educate me.
Hurt,
what's going on? Even so, recently I got my hair done, and the girl was telling me like, "Oh, all these great things, all these products I can use. Like, that's what you want. Like,
someone
educate me, help me. You know, because I don't know. I don't do hair,
girl. That's what I'm here. Right. And this is why I'm paying you. Like, I'm gonna always keep the beauty professionals in business. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
What is this?
Exactly.
But no, I agree, and I think too another part that I would piggyback is, you know, make sure you fact check too. Don't just like, because there are people that are just not genuine.
Everybody's not ethical.
Like we are ethical, and and actually definitely people that you could trust. But there are some that are not, and so you definitely should do your due diligence. Don't go in there blinded. But also too, I always think it's nothing wrong with getting a second opinion. I do that with doctors. I do that with anything really when I'm trying to do something huge.
Real estate too.
Like I think there's nothing wrong with you doing your own research if you feel, but also make sure you have expert against the expert, because then you really could see like, okay, well maybe someone may know something, and not saying one's better than the other, but like it might help you. Education.
People ask me all the time, because I do have like I said, I have a team of people that I can refer out, and people are like, do I have to use it? I'm like, absolutely not.
Right.
Shop around.
Same.
If your parents had a great experience with their lender when they bought their house, talk to them. You know, just have conversation. It's all about, like I said, it's all about just making sure you're educated, and then you can be informed and decide, is this right for me? Right. Just like we do with everything else. So we were just talking about hair. Yeah. It's a few people that can do knotless braids, and you're gonna see who has the best price, who's the best fit for you, who includes hair, right? Who you got to go buy your own
where
hair,
they at,
where they located from my house. Yeah. So we always research. And research is so important, right? How long it's gonna take?
That's too,
because the 10-hour knotless, I can't do it.
No, I had to go to the Africans for this one actually, because I wasn't playing. I said, look, I gotta get my
right. We all on the schedule. It's like, I gotta be in and out.
And I know you got this, and the price is still low.
Because I know Beyonce not sitting down around 8 hours for break.
Okay, I hope not. Well, no. She probably got a few people in her head though,
probably.
at the same time.
Probably at least 5.
Yeah. Oh, I love you. Okay, sorry. Back to that. So
we still on Renaissance high.
Right, girl, we gonna always go Renaissance. So another question, second to last question. I always ask everybody. Y'all know this already, but what's your most cringiest adulting moment that you don't mind sharing on recording?
Yeah, I think we said it earlier. Just like every time I check the mail and my name is on the bills, it's like, oh,
I take care of that.
Okay,
right.
So y'all,
it's cringe.
Hopefully they don't watch this, but I'm still getting away with being on my parents' cell phone bill.
Me too.
And so I'm just like, it's cheaper if it's just all of us, right? Instead of me getting my own. So that's my only bill, y'all, that my name is not on. And I'm so grateful to God for that. Because it's just like,
look, don't be ashamed, because I proudly send the text message of T-Mobile to my dad when they be sending it to me. They're like, oh, your payment's due. Daddy, the payment's due. Because look, hey, you know what I mean?
Right.
It is cheaper. Yeah. And also, we're a family.
Yeah, definitely. Like,
and if I'm not paying,
help me.
Right. If you literally the only bill you have to pay of a child that you created, 28 years ago, you should be very happy that that's all you have to worry about. Right.
I'm a single woman.
Just
help me as long as you can.
Right. Okay? Right.
Yeah.
And you can help me. So,
and definitely like the unexpected bills too, because like I told y'all, my car has 200,000 miles on it, so that automatically means every other day something is happening. Jesus, cover my car. And it's just annoying when you do finally get your little money and you're like, oh, I'm a splurge. And then they're like, oh, you need $800 worth of brake work. Right.
I know.
Cringy. That is literally cringy. And then it's like, you can't say no.
Right. You need brakes.
What you going to do about it? Like, you have to pay it.
Yeah.
Again, goes back to making sure you save outside of just real estate, but just saving is just so important.
It is, because a life on life.
Yeah.
And emergency is an emergency for a reason. So.
Yeah. But I'd be like, Mom and Daddy, y'all didn't tell me about it.
Right. We need to run this back.
Right.
I agree. I yell at my parents a lot for that. I'm like,
so much
y'all
stuff.
do this? Y'all used to do this every day. My dad was like, yeah, baby girl.
And my parents had kids at my age. I'm just like, whoa.
Right.
That had to have been a lot.
Okay. I saw a meme. It was like, when I be thinking life is so hard, and then I think about people that got kids my age, I'm like, ooh. Thank you, Jesus.
Right. Glory.
No, I'm kidding. No, I'm sure kids are blessings. And for them, at the time, they are. But for me right now, it will be a burden.
Yes.
Okay. Will not be the blessing just yet. So, I'm okay with that.
Seriously, girl. God's timing. I do want a family.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But God's timing.
Because I'm the baby right now. Yeah. I'm still nurturing myself.
Focusing on me.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this leads us to a last question. What's the best adulting advice you've ever received that you would not mind sharing today?
The best adulting advice?
Like thus far, in life.
So I'm getting ready to go to my anniversary of my homecoming, and when I went to college, I strongly dislike when adults said college is the best 4 years of your life.
Oh yeah.
Y'all,
it wasn't long.
It might be true.
Yeah.
Like
it really is.
It's like you're not underneath your parents.
Right.
So you get this like freedom you didn't have in high school and earlier.
Right.
But you don't really have no bills either. Like
right.
Of course, 6 months after you graduate, you get the first. We'll talk. That's a whole story for another day. But those 4 years of college were just so free. Like you just feel like a true, like you just soaring and just this.
And like even if you like, I mean, we all were broke, obviously, but like it didn't even feel like you were broke. Almost like you were still able to make it to those parties and get the Ubers or whatever gas to get to a party. And everything was fine. Like, even if you did a little work study job, your little hourly wage, you felt like...
No stress.
No
stress. Like stress-free. It's
agree.
like the worst thing you had to do was, like, study for an exam next week. It's just like...
Wake up early. You made the wrong decision to, like, turn up that night before.
Right.
Like, whatever. Yeah. Like, that's the worst consequence that you
meeting so many different people and just... I mean, you just don't realize at that time, like...
how big your world was.
Yeah, because now, like, in real estate... I work from home mostly, so I can go a whole day without seeing anybody. Yeah. Like, I'm still doing virtual appointments with my clients. Yeah. So it's like, I can go a whole day. It's so crazy because when I do my events now, people come up to me, they're like, I'm so-and-so. We just now meeting in person. It's so crazy how the pandemic has changed that. Like, literally, it could be 3 years later, I'm just meeting somebody face-to-face, which is so weird, but it's true. Is. But you know, you were so much more social in college. Like, you had those daily interactions with people in your dorm, people in class. So it changes. It changes. And adulthood can feel really lonely. You know, it's just kind of like...
And also, like,
what's happening?
The community. Because if you move, like for me, I moved to a new state. I'm originally from New York, Jersey area. So I had to recreate my family-ish friends.
Right.
Yeah, all of
Right.
that, as well as take on a new job as a first time corporate, whatever. So it was a lot.
Yeah,
and like,
I'm fortunate because I have a really good core group of friends. But that's such a good point because when I moved back to Atlanta, I'm from Atlanta,
right.
but I was in DC for 5 years. Like I said, I was in a 5-year MED program, and Atlanta was totally different. I'm like, what is this?
You left and came
back. Where are you supposed to go? We're supposed to be going where now? What now? They have what now? They got the belt line? Like, what's that?
Right.
And that's one thing about real estate that has helped expose me because I didn't know what anything was. Somebody was like, I want to live in Austell. And it sounds really ignorant, y'all, but I was just like, where is that?
Austell? Oh, I don't know.
I knew Stone Mountain. Atlanta. I didn't know anything about like Cobb, really. I didn't know much about Gwinnett other than like Snellville. So much changes, and you just have to kind of, the adjustments, and, you know, you have to adapt. And I think being an adult also, you know, after college, that's where like everything is uncertain. It
is, yeah.
But from kindergarten to graduating college, you knew what was next.
You had a structure.
You know?
And I remember I was talking to my mentee about this, and they were like, I just never felt, I was like, yes, I remember this exact time for me 6 years ago. And I was like, what is this? Yeah. And it was like this space. I don't know what you want to call it. We tried to call it a name, but it's like a weird minutia spot.
Stretching, discomforting.
Yeah, because it's like now, if you want to educate yourself, you have to now go read a book if you want to read a good book. Or, you know, it's not assigned to you.
Right.
No one cares if you've done it or not. If you want to be stuck in your ways for the rest of your life, you can. You know, and whatever that looks like for you is where you look like. You know, and it's very scary as well as exciting because now you're almost in control of your own fate, destiny to a point of what you can control. Yeah. So it is very interesting.
And that leads me to another point too, y'all. Keep God first.
Amen.
Because he's really in control. And I think like you just hit it on the head. We were in control of so much. And so when we lose control, we feel like we're losing ourselves. Okay. And it's like, this is God. Yes. God is really the puppet. Like he's the one up there. Like you never really did anything. You know, it felt like it. But it's really all God. So keep God first. And y'all get some therapy.
Oh, amen.
Some therapy.
We could end on that one. Because, baby, all I need you to do is get God in therapy. And you will figure it out. And I won't even stretch it and say you need to get my guy. Whatever guy that, you know, keeps you sane as a human being and civilized, that's what you can do, okay? I would prefer mine, but whatever. Yes. Because I think that really does help you. Because at the end of the day, I mean, some of the advice I give my friends, sometimes when we be talking, like, oh, life is hard. It is. Life will life. Yes. But it's the scriptures I've come back and fall on. It's the fact that I know God showed me every time, in times that I've needed him in so many ways, and not that he has my back. He's always there. Yeah. Life is going to life. He didn't say we're not going to have trial and tribulation, but he'll be there, and he conquered it already. Right. Those are the same things I'm saying every freaking time. Right. But this is happening. Yeah, but God is bigger than that. Yeah. And it always comes back to that. And that gives me the peace that surpasses a lot of understanding when we're in a recession, when I've lost my job, when things happen. So I just give that to people because I don't really know what else to say. My advice is that. And it's always going to be that.
Pastor Darius Daniels.
Oh, yeah. I love him.
He had a sermon that I listened to this week called Flip It. It's his New Year's Eve. I was late, but it popped up on my YouTube feed. And I was like, let me watch this. I like his messages. And so that's what he was saying. He was like, you know, God wants us to, even though we're going through things, he wants you to be grateful. Yes. Look at the things that are going right. So you might be going through all these things. Your car broke down, but do you have a roof over your head? Okay. Do you have food on the table?
You're alive. You're not
flip
in the hospital.
Flip it to the good thing instead of the worst thing that you're experiencing.
And there's a key to that too. And it's out, and not to like challenge religion. It's more so, I read a book. I cannot remember the book, but Lord have mercy. It was about the mindset of positivity and the power of that. Because when you do focus on the negative, then that's all you're going to think of. Yeah. Your mind is a very powerful thing. If you've not noticed, you could literally overthink yourself or get yourself out of something because you were just so frantic. Or anxiety. Anxiety comes from that too when you think too much about certain things going wrong. It's almost like he said, like scripture, but also there's like therapy books that says thinking positive thoughts really do help channel that. Because you almost start seeing the positive in life that gives you the endorphins that you need to get your stress levels down, and hopefully you start navigating. Like, it's crazy how it's science as well.
It's a class I take with Keller Williams called Bold, and one of the laws of that class is what you focus on expands.
Yeah, so that's it. Yeah,
both sides of that, like negative or positive. So try to focus on the things that are going right and just show gratitude every day. Show gratitude.
It really does. Yeah, because then it also grounds you. There's like, oh wow, well, you know what, life is a little life, but I don't have to worry about this, you know, and that is a beautiful posture to be in.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I love that we're talking about everything.
We did.
Yeah, real estate, finance, Jesus,
Life, yes.
Okay. You can get it all here, okay?
Yes. I love it.
Well, of course, before we let you go, you have to plug yourself again.
Of course.
And let us know where we can find you, and contact you. Again,
Definitely.
It's all will be down in the bio, but please take it away.
Yeah, so you guys can find me, Kyera Perry, on Instagram at Kyera, that's Kyera, the letter P as in Paul Realty, or my team page is Regal Realty Group ATL. So you guys can find us there, or on Facebook as well, Kyera Perry. I'm on Facebook too. So my Instagram page has my Linktree link where you guys can contact me via text, via email. It has all the ways to get in touch with me. So like I said, I love to educate. So if you just ever want to reach out and have a discovery call or just talk about some things, whatever it is, just I'm here for you guys. We are excited. One thing we love to do is promote small businesses as well. So if you know of a business that needs to be promoted, we love to do that, and we love to share resources with our clients as well. So yeah, thank y'all for having me.
Yes, of course, girl. You know, you always welcome here. She's not new, okay, to me or Adulting with Law in general. I'm sure you guys, if you guys have been following my business, you've seen her face plenty of times on live, all the great stuff. So she's just here now. Again, talking still about real estate because, we grow, but now on this platform. So I appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Always rocking with me. And
of course.
Yeah, I'll see you guys on the next episode of Adulting with Ma. Lord, Adulting is ghetto. Lord have mercy. Too many businesses with the same name. And thanks for coming.
Bye y'all.
Hey you, welcome to Adulting's Ghetto. We all know adulting is truly overrated, so what better way to survive this ratchet place than coming together to share our stories and words of wisdom with one another. Join us as we discuss all things adulting from the following aspects of adulthood: finances, relationships, spirituality, and even health. This podcast is a great source to get all tips and tricks as you manage to survive adulting. After all, we already know adulting is truly ghetto.